So you went to Michigan.
I did. I had a fantastic time. Born there, spent the first 10 years roughly of my life. And then moved here. My dad was sick of it, didn't want to live there, and said, let's move to Florida. His parents were here, and was raised here primarily. But would go up there for summers and all the time. So I still had a connection, had a familial connection with lots of my mom's family. All of my mom's family was in Michigan. So my brother plays guitar. He plays bars and stuff, and a lot of Irish bars.
Oh, cool.
For some reason, we're about this much Irish, but it's like swollen in him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you believe in past lives, but he has this very strong connection to Ireland, and he can evoke it.
Has he been?
Yeah, multiple times.
Well, good. Because that would be a little weird.
Yeah.
I have such a strong connection to this place I've never been before.
Yeah, no, he's been like 3 times, so.
Okay.
2 or 3 times. But he can just sing those songs like he came from them, you know?
That's cool.
It is interesting, but.
I do like Irish folk music.
Yeah, oh, you would love to hear him then. But he plays this gig down in Vero Beach, and one of the clients who came in, not clients, I shouldn't say, one of the patrons who came there saw him wearing a Tiger hat, Detroit hat. He's like, oh, I'm from Detroit, and they hit it off. Mm-hmm. He's about in his late 50s, but he's just a guy. His girls are in college, and he just wants to have fun. Like he's like, I'm done raising kids. He wants to cut loose and have fun. So he's like, hey, come and have fun.
Introduce him to her friends.
But so he's the kind of guy. He's a lawyer. He lives in Vero Beach. He's got season tickets to Michigan football, but lives in Florida. Mm-hmm. He's that kind of guy, and he travels a lot. So he's around a lot. So he does get up to Michigan quite a bit. He's a fascinating guy. He's a lawyer, but he works for Florida Power.
Okay.
And he goes from college to college, ensuring that their curriculum is within energy standards, like current energy standards. And yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting job. I'm trying not to get sidetracked because I saw another thing on the internet this week about about how the environmental movement is just the modern day eugenics movement, and that the powers that be that want to keep themselves in power are moving away from oil, and they're ensuring that they keep their power. They are the ones who created the environmental movement. So
interesting.
Part of what he does is promote the fact that and the development of renewable resources at a college level.
Now, when you say the powers that be, because that's more of a left-leaning stance, is environmental protection and safety.
You would think. But the Rockefellers of the world, pre-World War II, there was the pseudoscience of eugenics. Mm-hmm. And it was purported to say that, like, if you just manufactured the way that humans were able to breathe, that you would build a better society. Mm-hmm. Who makes that decision about who gets to breathe? Not even that, but just like enforced sterilizations.
Yeah.
Upon like people who were considered to be less than.
That's what we need.
Yeah. So, man, I'm totally getting sidetracked, but this is a good one. So that, unfortunately for them, got wrapped up in Nazism, and they had to drop it because it got connected with the Nazis.
Too close to
And
at that time,
when Nazism was defeated, so was their ideology. But it was a force that saw that they were the rightful chosen rulers of people in the United States especially, and that the way to control people was through that selective breeding. And now they've created the environmental movement in the same way to
exploit?
Yeah, and to, in a way, it's fascinating because the way that the guy, the YouTube video that I saw, his name is the Corbett Report. Have you heard of him?
I think so.
he makes this video, and basically the crux of his video is that they're using the environmental movement to basically say that humans are the main problem and we need less humans. So it's like eugenics, but it's just in a different guise, a different. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Kind of like the Kingsman movie. Did you see that one?
No. Mm-mm.
Really?
No, I haven't seen the Kingsman.
Ooh.
It's good, huh?
Yeah. Samuel Jackson's the bad guy, and his whole thing is he's a rich billionaire, and he.
Can you put your mic down just for a second? Hold on, I'm going to cut this.
Technical difficulties.
Start with I just want to get a little bit further away from you.
Well, fuck you. So, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen The Kingsman yet. So Samuel Jackson's a bad guy, multi-billionaire.
I'm just going to turn it up.
And
keep going.
He basically gives free cell phones to everybody. It's like, if you want a cell phone, get one. There you go. Doesn't matter your price. Well, it turns out there's a frequency that these cell phones can hit that makes people go crazy. And they start trying to kill everybody. So that's his plan to help weed down the population, because he thinks that with global warming and all these environmental problems that humans are like a virus. Global warming is a fever produced by the virus. So we need to throw some antibiotics in there.
Oh shit!
So
I got some shit to say about this now.
It's a fun movie.
So,
but that's what
you bring that up. I don't know where you. Oh shit! I can't see. Hold on. God damn it! This is hard. So I don't know where you fall on the whole 9/11 thing, but the build up to 9/11 included this pilot of this TV show that basically laid out the entire conspiracy theory of 9/11 before 9/11 happened. And it wasn't a hit, but it didn't really take off. But the whole thing is like basically like somebody discovering that the government allowed it to happen to change popular opinion.
It's a catalyst.
That it's a false flag kind of a thing. And this TV show says it all, and it's like came out in March, way before September. And like you bring up the Kingsman, talking about this, the thing that what do you say about the cell phones that make people go crazy, and the environmental thing? Like, it's just fascinating that those things get into the culture before they happen.
So,
like, didn't they say that the government, the U.S. government, was talking to people like Michael Bay, coming up with like possible scenarios? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, no, I did hear about that, and so I don't know where I fall. On the whole, the conspiracy, because there's a lot about 9/11.
Sure.
It was a tragedy. A lot of people died. There are some inconsistencies. Planes crashed into the buildings. I'm thoroughly confident that that's what caused the buildings to collapse. I'm not, it's not, a lot of people have issues with that. From some of the stuff I read, there was, like some of the, they had passports and stuff that they found that were just on the street in New York.
Yeah, not burned.
Not burned, yeah. So there's some weird things.
There's a lot of weird things.
But
hey, you want to get into this? My wife is like shaking her head like this right now. She knows what I do. She knows what I do in the middle of the night, buddy.
Well, I mean, so do I. So there's a lot of weird things, but there is an idea there of people being in so much power that we don't know that they're in power, that they're able to do such, large-scale things like this to try to manipulate our feelings and our judgments on things and our personal tastes and stuff like that. There was an article that I read. First there was a book, and then there was an article I read later on that kind of like actually kind of gave evidence to this kind of the idea. The book was fictional, but basically the book expressed that, how like they have like the richest people lists in the world? Well, the book that I read suggested like there's some people here that are so rich they can pay not to be on that list.
Yeah.
And you don't even know they exist.
They don't want to be popularized.
Right. Yeah. So, and then I read an article like so many months later about that kind of thing. Like, you have the richest billionaires, but it was pointing out, well, this person and this person and this person, nobody knows about.
They're not on the list.
And they're richer than all these people.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting concept to think that there could be people out there that are so powerful, that they're more powerful than the most powerful people we know of, and they're kind of guiding how we feel about things, because we're not hard to manipulate. I mean, look at the political campaigns right now. You know, look at whole, the whole Republican MO right now about if there's any kind of opposition to what they do, you just have to crush them and overpower them, and that's it. You know, like anything that anybody says against Trump just completely invalidates what they have to say, just regardless of facts, whatever. So, you know, there's a lot of a smokescreen, you know, and a lot of confusion. You know, that's a tactic. And it's interesting to think that might not even be the highest level that there is. You know, like he's just potentially a pawn in an even larger game.
Sure.
You know?
A distraction.
A distraction.
Yeah.
From
or a
all this other
manipulable figurehead.
What I'm hoping is aliens. So what was that show with the lizard people? It was in the 70s and they remade it not that long ago. V or 5?
It was V.
Yeah, V.
Yeah.
I'm really pulling for that.
Yeah.
Because if there was an alien apocalypse and they had to enslave people, I would sell out immediately. There wouldn't even be a conversation. Oh, I'm sorry. I could have the potential to, I don't know, explore the galaxy or the universe, or deal with...
Stay here with this political crap.
Shit show. There's not even...
Okay. I'm on.
I would...
Just give me the anal probe.
I'd be sucking dick before the wheels even came down. Like, before they even landed. Just...
Whose dick do I gotta suck to go to light speed?
Are there spikes? I don't know how it works. We're gonna figure it out. So, I would sell out immediately. So, lizard people out there watching, I got you.
Call me.
Call me.
Call me now. So yeah,
how much hate we're gonna get from
we
that.
got here from my trip to Detroit.
Sorry, Detroit. So you were in Detroit.
But I don't know. I want to talk about 9/11 now. No, Detroit was fascinating because I never had an adult experience there.
Adult as in a mature adult, or adult as in a prostitute?
Not as in adult entertainment.
Okay.
But as in this is totally fake. Looks nice though.
It looks nice.
Real nice. There's no sound plugged in. It doesn't get any louder if we get closer to it. It's a neat. Work the shaft. Don't mind the children. There you go.
Sorry, I get. This beer is really strong.
It's really good. It's really good. I'm out. If you have another one.
Yeah, I can get you another one.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So there's this German philosophical term, Sehnsucht. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not. And I do love those kind of words.
Yeah, Sehnsucht. Not only is it the title of a really good Rammstein record, it is also a philosophical term meaning, let me look it up real quick here. Sehnsucht, translated as longing, pining, yearning, or craving. Some psychologists use the word Sehnsucht to represent thoughts and feelings about all facets of life that are unfinished or imperfect, paired with a yearning for an ideal alternative experience. To put it shortly, to yearn for something you didn't experience.
Okay.
You know what I mean by that? Like
absolutely,
like something that you have idealized.
Yeah.
And so this weekend, we put our feet in Detroit for the first time as adults.
As adults.
And when we left there, Detroit wasn't a place you go to. It's just you didn't go. Like we went to a baseball game and then like ran out of town. Like you didn't. My parents weren't walking us around downtown Detroit in the '80s. It just was not the thing you did.
Yeah.
Unless you were looking for crack. But there's plenty of crack there still. But it's just not as prevalent.
It's just not. It's not the same.
They're not breathing down here. They're not pushy salesmen anymore. You know what I mean? But so it's a different world down there now. Absolutely different world now. Business has come in. The Quicken Loans guy has revolutionized Detroit. He's thrown so much money in there.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Moved their headquarters there when nothing was going on, and now there's like families walking the dog.
That's cool.
Down the street.
That's cool.
So we stayed downtown, and to get that experience that we longed for, and even idealized because we never got, you know. But that's where we were from. Was fantastic, and moving in a way because we at this moment we were sitting in a hotel room looking out at the city, and we're thinking like, we're here. How strange is it that we're here? You and I as adults, my brother and I. My dad's dead, my grandpa's dead, my uncle's dead, but like now this is happening for us. You know what I mean? So it's just funny the way that life played out. You know. And then we walked to the baseball field, which I never imagined doing that. You know, like walking through the city to the baseball field, just to make like a real urban experience. You know, that was fantastic. And my family was there, cousins were there, and it was just wonderful. It was just an impactful weekend of I don't know. It felt like I put a period on my childhood.
Okay.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like that's over.
Yeah.
And I'm 40, for God's sake. But that's in the past now. And it was the last kind of thing that I had to like do to go, okay, this is the second, the back 9 of my life.
You got some closure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I played my first round, and now this is the second round. And how am I going to play that one? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was an interesting moment. But to come with like, you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my brother was playing in this bar called the Kilted Mermaid exactly. That's in cool. Vero Beach.
Yeah.
And Jim happens to be there, who's from Michigan and has the means and like wanted us to come up and got us a hotel room and
oh, that's awesome.
And made all that happen. And had tickets for a Michigan football game and just was like, oh, you should come up and do this because I can, you know. But for us, it turned out to be way more impactful
than just
like, oh, you should come up for a football game.
Yeah.
Which was what he was doing, which he does at least 2 or 3 times a year because that's just what he does.
Yeah.
But for us, it turned out to be something fascinating.
That's really great.
Yeah, it was. It was
really great.
It was good. More beer.
More beer?
I think so. Boop. So where did you procure these delicious Latin-styled meats?
Thrifty Produce, right here in Melbourne, Florida. No, it's great. Okay, so they're amazing. So so when we first moved here, she didn't have to work for a few months. Mm-hmm. So we just went everywhere to eat. We love trying different places to eat. She's Cuban. My wife is Cuban. And
by way of Kentucky.
By way of Kentucky. Well, first by way of Florida, then Arizona, then Kentucky.
Yeah.
And that's where we met.
We should have Astrid on the show.
We should sometime.
Mm-hmm. She's in the other room.
She is, but she's probably asleep.
No.
Yeah. So we tried like the best Cuban restaurants in the area, and they're good. They're good. Then we just went to this store, Thrifty Produce, not a sponsor yet.
Yeah.
And it's
were you there just shopping for groceries?
Yeah, we were just like, well, let's check this place out. That was it. Mm-hmm. You know, and we went in there and they had food, and it was like a cafeteria style thing, and we tried it, and it was better than any restaurant we went to for like Hispanic or Cuban food, because it's like a little bit Cuban, a little bit Puerto Rican, like a combination of the two.
It's Florida.
So good, so good. And these are the cheap. I'm going to butcher this, and I apologize to all my
Chicharrones.
To all my viewers who might habla español.
Is that right?
Yeah, but the R's.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
How do you say it? Chicharrones.
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 Chicharrones. It's the R.
Rones. It's so romantic.
It's only like
romantic language.
It's only like a couple R's, but chicharrones.
Or it's a pork rind.
Here's a funny story for our viewers at home and you, who I'm not sure if you heard this yet. So when we first started dating, my wife and I.
Not us. We've only been dating for a week.
We've only been dating for a few weeks. Yeah. When my wife and I started dating, I really tried to learn Spanish. Like I tried hard. I was studying and I was learning. We were in high school and I was taking the class. I was really paying attention. And I would practice regularly with her and try to do it with her family. Then one day, her mom was like, you know what, Kurt? Whenever you speak Spanish, it sounds like you're talking with a dick in your mouth. So I was like, well, I guess I'm never doing this again.
When you hear futura mother-in-law
you sound like you have a dick in your mouth.
Say that you have a dick in your
And then she tried to speak Spanish like I spoke, and she's just like, and I'm just like, she did it in jest.
Not even encouraging?
She did it in jest.
But she was not encouraging you to try harder.
But it cut pretty deep. And now, 13 years later, I still don't speak Spanish.
None. Zero.
No, I mean, I can understand it.
But you can pick it up. Say, we need more beer.
Need more beer.
Necesitamos.
Más cerveza.
Más cerveza.
Más cerveza.
Yeah, I can put phrases like that together. Sometimes I surprise myself. Just growing up in this area that I've picked up as much as I have.
Yeah. That's cool.
I wish I did more. I wish I was like completely fluent.
There's actually a book that I got. I can't remember the name, but it's a Spanish book, and it's from like the 40s or 50s, which is kind of neat because it has some older language in it too, which is nice because like words that people don't use anymore, but it's kind of neat. But when you Google like top,
You can speak like a 40s Spanish gangster.
Yeah. So, but when you Google like the top Spanish books, it's still like one of the number ones.
Yeah.
Because the first thing it does, it shows you all the words in English that are pretty much identical in Spanish. It's like you already know hundreds of Spanish words. They're just a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know?
Slightly.
Yeah, slightly different. So like doctor and all the other words I can't remember.
It's just what, doctor.
Yeah, doctor. That's it. With an L or a la at the beginning of it. So
Baseball.
And what's pretty cool is the person who illustrated that book, Andy Warhol.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have been like an early
young
job.
Andy Warhol. Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty neat, right?
Very cool.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.